Hello, everybody. This is Bruce from Oregon. It's the Bruce from Oregon Show. This is Court of X, Episode 4. It might be the first, it might be the last. Well, it's Episode 4, so it's probably not the first, and it might be the last, but we'll see. Now, today, we are going to be reading some more legal tweets on X. But first, we need to meet Meepy Scooper. This is our guest cat of the day. He is wearing a top hat and sunglasses and drinking a martini with an olive. Now, normally I'd say cats probably shouldn't drink martinis with an olive, but for Meepy Scooper, I would say it's perfectly fine. Now, today is October 21st. It's a Monday. Hopefully you don't have a case of the Mondays. Hopefully you are getting out in the fall atmosphere, having a pumpkin spice latte, and enjoying this fine video. We are going to get into the tweets. So let's do that. Now, where we left off on October 10th. So we are about 11 days behind. Such is life on the internet. But let's get into it and see what David S. Gingras, lawyer for Laura Owens in the Owens v. Clayton Echard paternity scandal, has to say for himself on Twitter. So where we left up last time, he had just posted this this document. It says filed today. And this is case management statement. Okay, so this is basically saying they are going to appeal in the Court of Appeals, and they are setting up the case management system for the documents that will be recorded in that system. So the appeal has begun. The process has begun. This is not his appeal with the full arguments and everything, but it is the start of the appeal process. So this is an appeal document, which is fine. Let's see what some of the comments say on this thing. And he pins a link here. We can open this in a new tab, I guess. And it's just a Court of Appeals document talking about how they are, I don't know, setting up the appeal. Like, here it is. They're just transferring documents. These are all electronic documents. It's fine. Okay. We've got the petitioner, Laura Owens. We've got the respondent, Clayton Echard. We've got their attorneys over here, David Gingras, Esquire, and Greg Woodnick, Esquire. It's all good. The original judge, Julianne Matta, from the original order, and that's about it. So that's nice. And then, oh my gosh, Booger Fan says, sorry if this is a dumb question. What is this? He says, this is not the appeal. It's a housekeeping document the court requires everyone to file. I may post a copy later, but why? It's just fuel for the YouTubers, and you know how I feel about them. And then he has a $ emoji. Well, yeah, that's the whole point. When court cases are interesting to the public, YouTubers cover them. And then people enjoy their commentary, either for educational purposes or entertainment purposes. And then YouTube pays those YouTubers. It's very straightforward. There's really nothing wrong with it. Then he says, if you are dying of curiosity, email me and I may share the thing. I don't know what he means by the thing. Does he mean his full appeal document? I mean, this first document is part of the appeal. It's part of the appeal process, and it's going to the Court of Appeals. So this is an appeal document. It's just maybe not the document that contains his arguments, if you want to be very precise. Okay? Now, I don't know. The other thing is, he's always like, oh, just email me and I'll send you a document. That's not how this works. We enjoy the process of the final documents going onto the docket so that we can obtain them from the public court system as a member of the public and then reviewing them. The anticipation of seeing those documents go into the docket and then getting them so we can read them is part of the entertainment, and it's part of the education once we can actually read them. We don't need to short circuit the, fundamental legal process. If the court says you can order a PDF, we'll order a PDF. If the court says you have to go in person, someone will go in person. This is how it's supposed to work. We're not supposed to short circuit it by getting documents straight from a lawyer. That's not part of the standard process that we want to have to protect the court system in America. So I don't know why he keeps saying he can just email stuff to people. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why he would do that. We just want to get the official documents off the court docket so we know they're legit. And it's okay waiting. It's okay. We can be patient. It's fine. Okay. And then Marmite here says, you really want to post it as you wouldn't have posted this. What? Yet again, you are looking for attention and adding fuel to the fire. Well, I mean, maybe. Like you and your client always do when you get the attention you both crave, you cry about it. Oh dear. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Flux here says, loser dumbass. Oh, Flux. We love Flux. JusticeForClean.com says, may I please have a copy? Let's see. Uh, Hoodoo says, yeah, keep her revenge going, you tool. Wow. So some of these people have some spicy comments. I don't recommend posting spicy comments, guys. We're just trying to get to the bottom of the case and figure out what the evidence is and watch the appeal play out in the court system as it should, if that's what they want to do. That's all we're doing. Okay, let's see. Now we got to go up. Now this has a line, so we got to follow the line. Let's follow the line. His next post, it's still October 10th. Oh boy. As a response to the narrative that Laura tried to extort Mike Maricini into a relationship, Laura asked me to share these voicemails from Mike's mom. These are from near the end of the relationship. Well, what does that mean, near the end? Does he not have a date? So here's the problem, guys. We have a whole laptop from Mike with text messages that are dated and verified by a forensic expert. And if we don't know what date these voicemails are from, we can't correlate these voicemails to the text messages from the laptop. So this is too vague. This is not precise enough. Whatever happened to discipline and attention to detail and precision? Whatever happened to these things, these qualities? We used to value these qualities, guys. These are from near the, what is near? One day from the end? When is the end? Do we even know? Near? Is near a month away, 2 months, a quarter away? We don't know. Lack of detail. Disappointing. Does this sound like his mom views Laura as a predator? Well, why does his mom have to view her as a predator for her to be a predator? Here's the thing. Go over to Lauren Knighty's channel. We did a whole video listening to these voicemails, and all these voicemails showed was that Mike's mom was concerned at a particular point in time because these two people had been in a relationship and she wanted to stay in touch, and she was concerned and wanted to touch base. That's all it showed. It doesn't refute anything that was in the laptop text message logs. Okay. So I don't really know. I don't know anything here. I mean, I don't know what we can learn from these voicemails other than she was concerned about this lady. I don't know. Very strange. What else do we got here? And then he says, note, Laura says she avoided calling Mike's mom back in response to these messages. If Laura was trying to trap this poor victim, quote unquote, wouldn't you expect her to return these calls eagerly? Well, I don't know what someone would do if they were trying to trap a victim. So if Laura was trying to manipulate Mike, she might want to return these voicemail calls. On the other hand, if she was trying to manipulate Mike, she might not return these calls. I can imagine two different people trying to manipulate and trap poor Mike. And one of those people might return the voicemail calls, and one of the persons might not. I can imagine that both are possible. There's nothing that says, like, if you are manipulating someone and trying to trap them, then, okay, so we have an if then else, if A, then B. If you are trying to trap and manipulate someone, then you will return all of that person's mom's voicemails. Like, what rule is that? You can't prove that statement applies to every single person in the world. I mean, you can say maybe they would do that, but how can you confirm whether? I don't care about what they might do. I care about what the person did. Okay? So she didn't return the calls, and we have lots of text message logs from Mike's laptop showing how she manipulated and tried to trap him multiple times. Okay, both can be true at once. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Then he says, weird logic, JFC. I mean, it's not weird logic. There's nothing that says if you are trying to do something nefarious, then you have to return that person's mom's voicemail calls. That's not it's not like that has to happen in logic. I mean, maybe that's how you would do it, but that doesn't mean that's how someone else would do it. It doesn't make any sense. All we need to see is the evidence of what people actually said and what they actually did. So these voicemails don't seem to prove anything to me. I don't know, there's like 11 replies to this. Okay, JB says this sounds like an empathetic mother who heard that Laura was making suicidal threats. We saw the text messages, so she is reaching out to her because she's a good person. Fair. And Laura uses her concern to gaslight the audience. You need to go to these to defend yourself. There's something off. Oh, the text messages. Yeah, I agree. Oxford, split infinitive says clearly just using the tried and true look over here method of defense against the whole Laura didn't post that edited photo. I promise you 11 billion%. Oh no, guys. Not the 11 billion%. I don't want to have to explain percentages again. And we have evidence of that, but it's confidential, so you'll just have to trust us shenanigans. This is funny. I mean, it's in quotes. It's just funny. Booger Fan says, David, can you explain how this pertains to the edited Medium photo? I don't think it does. Also, what's a case management document or whatever you had filed earlier? I really am curious about that. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's just mechanics of the appeal process. Karen Karsten says, Laura says a lot of things that aren't actually true. She lied and continues to lie, often and about really bad things. Okay. That's her comment there. Mark says, an uninvolved third party checking in on someone who had convinced them they had cancer, having voicemails from 10 years ago released is shocking, even for you two. Was this to obfuscate your lack of 1,000%, 1,000%, guys, 1,000% proof Laura didn't doctor her Medium article pics? Interesting. Jane says Mike has always said that his family pushed for him to stay in the relationship, which is a part of the reason he stayed so long. Okay. They didn't know the full story of what she was doing to him at the time. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't have to tell your parents every single detail of your relationship and how it's going as an adult. I mean, you can tell them things and you can tell them details and you can be more detailed or less detailed. Just depends. Every relationship is different. Let's see. Alyssa the Chronic Crafter says, just had an idea for yourself and Laura. Stop feeding the cult. YouTube creators had ceased talking about this saga until a certain Medium article. It appears you both enjoy feeding the beast. Weird logic, LO and DG. Interesting theory. Yeah, I mean, I'm just making this part 4 video because there's enough tweets and replies to the tweets that are kind of interesting to review. If they weren't here, I'd be making more Cat Quest 3 videos or American Truck Simulator videos or something like that. Who knows? Law and Glitter 22 says, didn't Laura claim not to have retained the electronic data from her relationship with Mike around the time his computer files, which provided, I think they meant prove she fraudulently claimed to have cancer and be pregnant again with twins, were produced? And further, she retained voicemails from a decade ago from someone's mother, yet failed to keep the original undoctored ultrasounds from a few months ago, which would have vindicated her in this action. Seems highly and extraordinarily unlikely. Yeah, it is weird that you have all these voicemails from so long ago, but when you're pregnant, you don't go get fetal heartbeat monitoring or a series of ultrasounds from a consistent OBGYN or DNA paternity tests that indicate who the father of your babies are. It's very strange. I don't know. Dose Reality says no, mothers have a way of figuring things out given long enough and enough contact. Sons especially do not share many details of their relationships with women to their moms. Yeah, I would agree. Let's see. Hoodoo says, yes, David, all 3 men are victims of her fake twin pregnancy scam, and you're a tool. Well, I mean, he's just her legal counsel, specifically a tool of her abuse to punish her victims. Hmm, that's interesting. She seeks to hurt men who reject her by dragging them through legal actions. By the way, how's that appeal going? You tool. Wow, hoodoo is really spicy. Spicy comments. Some of these actually have, okay, yeah, some of these have additional comments. Um, unless there's something super interesting. I think these are just people agreeing with the commenters here generally. Um, yeah, some gifs. Classic gifs. What can we do? Okay. Yeah. And it's hard to fix typos on Twitter, so we will give people some grace on that. Okay. All right. So we've looked through this post. We looked through these. Oh my goodness. Did we read all 21 of these? I think we did. Okay. This is fine. It's fine. Let's see. So David says on October 10th. We're still on October 10th, guys. He's tweeting a lot. October 10th. More evidence of the terrible relationship between Laura and the mom of her victim, Mike M. Oh, the horror of Laura's manipulation, pure evil. Finally, I see GFC was right. Laura trapped these men and their poor families. Loved her every step of the way. Well, you can't really infer how a relationship went from like one text message exchange from somebody's mom. Like, that is that's sort of cherry picking or what they call the sharpshooter fallacy, okay? And the sharpshooter fallacy is kind of like this thing where you pick out something like here's a voicemail from Mike's mom, here's a text message exchange from Mike's mom, and she's so very nice. So they must have had a great relationship while ignoring all of the other evidence, his testimony. Um, he has like relatives and people that were involved with people of his relatives that provided affidavits and all of this. There's the text messages from his laptop that were confirmed. You're ignoring this big body of evidence in favor of a little thing here. Like, here's a text message exchange, here's a voicemail from somebody who wasn't even in the relationship, a third party. And so the sharpshooter fallacy is like you're just counting the times, oh, I hit the target twice, but you're ignoring the 30 times you didn't hit the target. Okay. Or it's sort of like if you have somebody with a gambling problem and they come back and they say, I won $200 on the slot machine. And it's like, yeah, but you put 600 in. So you're $400 down. You know, the dopamine of the $200 win is not keeping you above water here. That's really what they're doing, I think. It's very strange. And they got a text message here where this appears to be Mike's mom is texting and says they had a good evening. Now, this is nice because it does have dates. We've got June 7th, 2017. And again, 2017. This is a long time ago. Um, when it's like, oh, I don't have any evidence of these other things because I changed my phone. Like, well, where did these things come from then? It's very suspicious. But in any way, Mike's mom just appears to be saying, we had a good evening. Are you guys making reservations? How's your relationship going? Have you seen this show? You know, I mean, it doesn't really say much. I don't know what to do with that, guys. I don't know. Okay, and then we go back to October 10th, and he says, yes, both sides in the debate should be civil, but one is not. And then he posts a screenshot of Justice for Clayton official on Instagram with a meme um, saying what Ron's boomer fans think Laura looks like. And there's a doll. What Scottsdale PD knows Laura looks like. And then there's the Chucky doll from the horror movies. I don't know. It's just humor. It's just a joke. I don't know. I don't think anybody should be making fun of anybody's appearance. This isn't the meme I would have posted or reposted or retweeted or anything, but you know, sometimes people make edgy memes or they make edgy comments. It's the internet. That's how it goes. And you cannot conflate like it's weird because he says both sides. And what you have in sides is you have a petitioner and you have a respondent. And then the public is outside of that. The public is not a side. The public is the public. And so if a member of the public posts a meme you don't like, you should take it up with them. What do you want me to do? I didn't post this thing. I didn't create it. It's not something I would share. I mean, it's kind of funny, but um, he's very monolithic about these things and very binary. And the real world has a lot of shades of gray, one of which being the shade of my sweatshirt. But in any case, I don't know. What does he want me to do about this? I can't do anything about this. Let's see what the comments say. Mark says, I see Mark and I just think of Marky Mark from the Funky Bunch and feel the vibrations. That just makes me laugh. Feel the vibration. Boogie Nights. Good movie. Are we still pretending there's proof Laura didn't doctor the photos in that Medium article? And I mean, I don't know what these guys are, when they say doctor, like, what does doctor mean? I don't know what that means. Doctoring a photo, changing the photo? I don't know. I don't know what it means. David says, I have proof Laura didn't doctor those photos. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and say she did. I don't know if she did or not. Act with reckless disregard for the truth. Well, people don't have the truth until you give it to them, sir. If you say you have proof and you don't give it to someone, how can someone act in disregard for it? You can't act in disregard for something you don't have. If your garage door is closed, David, and there's a riding lawnmower in there, and someone's like, hey, Bruce, is there a riding lawnmower in there? And I say, I don't know. And you have a tiny yard. Maybe there's like no grass. Maybe it's AstroTurf because it's Arizona. I'd be like, he probably doesn't have a riding lawnmower in there because he has an AstroTurf lawn because it's Arizona. And then someone finally opens the garage door and I can see the riding lawnmower. Well, now I've learned new information. I've gotten new evidence and I can change my mind. I can change my opinion. Like, yeah, I think he does have a riding lawnmower in there for some reason. I don't know why. If he has an AstroTurf yard. But, you know, people look for the simplest solution to the question. And then they're going to believe that until they have good reason to believe a stranger explanation or a more complicated or more complex explanation for something. People just drawing an opinion about something they see in two different court documents is not reckless disregard for the truth. You have to present the truth and convince people with evidence before you can expect them to believe you. They won't just believe you on your word alone. Then he says, just don't blame me when a judge jury asks you to explain why you spread false info. Well, if you have an opinion about something and you don't have all the evidence, it's not spreading false info. You're just presenting your opinion. You're like, well, you know, I drove by someone's house and they had an AstroTurf lawn. So if you ask me if I think they have a riding lawnmower in their garage, probably not. Is that reckless disregard for the truth? Is that spreading false info? No. That's just making a hypothesis. That's just using an educated guess based on what you've seen. You can always make a better educated guess or a better hypothesis after you've seen more things. But you have to present the proof first. Then he says, yes, that's a dare. Call me on it. Well, it doesn't make any sense. What are you saying? Just doesn't make any sense. Nobody is claiming to have some mysterious, magical information that you don't have. It's very strange. Oxford, split infinitive says, you know that discrediting someone's bare denials does not constitute reckless disregard for the truth. Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen this again goes back to this kitchen photo. There's a photo in like an affidavit, and there's a photo on a Wayback Machine version of the Medium blog, and they're clearly not the exact same photo. Some people think it's the same photo, but it was just edited or photoshopped or Instagram filtered. Some people think they're two different photos from who knows what. Like, I don't even know. We just know they're clearly not the exact same pixel for pixel photo. That's all we know by looking at them. That's all we can say. It's very strange, especially when the speaker is asking for your explanation that you say you have. We've already gone over this. Yeah, if you have the magic proof, you should present it right away. Don't tease it. This isn't Friday night. We don't need to be edged along here. Tanya Twinklestar says the conversations were civil until you entered the scene. I think that's true. You consistently call people names, insult them, demean them, and lie to them. This is a disgusting post by that Instagram page, and you are generally pretty disgusting in your tweets too. Pot, meat, kettle. Yeah, that sounds like Tanya agrees with me. JCM says humor is based in truth, and it's very obvious that Laura filters and facetunes her photos to a catfish level of deception. Hmm. If someone who feels the need to filter their face this much, else are they willing to edit to fit their narrative? Her photo editing is compulsive. Interesting idea. Tara Briscoe says that is a parody account. You are a lawyer. Are you equating yourself? Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be her legal representation. He is the petitioner's attorney. A member of the public creating a parody account is not a side. I think that's what Tara is getting to, which I explained earlier, right? The public is not a side. The public is not the petitioner. The public is not the respondent. It's not a class action lawsuit. Marmite says the person sending horrendous emails to Dave, claiming he's going to make him and his wife and new baby homeless. Rude emails to Omar, threatening lawsuits on here because people question your client's truthfulness. I repeat, the time and place to argue her case was June the 10th. Thread down. I figured this out. This means their comments continue in subsequent tweets. That's what that means. We've learned something new, guys. Learning is fun. Marmite says, we all know you are appealing, as you keep reminding everyone. Wouldn't you think it would be best for your client's health, as you keep stating she is not well, to just sit quietly until the appeal ruling? Then if the ruling isn't in your client's favor, quietly go to the Supreme Court as you have threatened, then quietly await that ruling. Yet instead your client makes Medium blogs repeating the same old, and then you come here and do the same, sir. If you don't want to engage, sir, don't post about your client and her case. This is good advice. Like I think I said in the last video, I don't think it's a good idea to be somebody's attorney and someone's PR agent at the same time. If you want a PR firm, go hire a PR firm. If you want a lawyer, go hire a lawyer. That's my advice. Let's see. What else do we got? Teraturi says, fair. This is not nice. I agreed. And then they say neither is bringing mothers into the crosshairs. Interesting. Sierra Bravo says, are you her lawyer or PR firm? I think the answer is both. David says, I'm a horse trainer at this point, nothing more. And then there's a horse emoji and another horse emoji and a, what is this, carousel horse emoji. Ooh. He's a horse trainer. And then he says, proof, I'm on the left. Yes, I had a bright blonde hair as a kid in the 1970s. And no, I didn't know Laura or anyone in her family when I lived in California. It's a big place. That's true. Had zero knowledge of her until I was hired for this shit show. Okay. What does he mean, proof? He's on the left. So is this him over here? He's on a pony. He's a small child. What does he mean he's a horse trainer at this point? This is him in the 70s. This is not proof of him being a horse trainer. And also, all we have is his claim that this is actually him. It might not be him. I mean, it probably is, but who knows? This is proof that he's a horse trainer? I don't even know if this is a horse. This is like a pony. I don't even know if this is him. This is him in the 70s. And at this point, it's 2024. It's not the 70s. So he's not a horse trainer. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't provided proof he's a horse trainer. He uses the word proof in a very strange way. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced, guys. We got some replies. Just for Clayton.com says, "What went wrong in your life?" Wow. Who hurt you? Oh my. You were a cute kid. There's still time to leave this case and recapture any dignity left. Oh my. David says, I was punched in the face by a cop when I was 16. Okay. Um, that event formed my view of legal justice. What? His view of legal justice? One event? Um, this is weird because this is what a lot of people do. They'll take an anecdote, like I was punched in the face by a cop when I was 16. That is a singular anecdote of something that happened to a human being. And then they do things like they conflate it with statistically significant processes, statistically significant events, statistically significant conclusions. You know, I ate 1,000,000 carrots as a diet and my illness went away. Therefore, carrots cured my illness. An anecdote is not scientific evidence of anything, it is not statistically significant. Okay? You cannot conflate an anecdote with a large scale population. Like your view of legal justice in America or something. Like America is a big place. I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense. I've given speeches about that event for years. I mean, and what's the conclusion? I don't understand. You got punched in the face by a cop. So there was a cop who did something wrong? I don't know. Were you really punched in the face? Was he detaining you? Like, we don't know any of the details here. These are just weird sentences taken out of context. Next one is next Tuesday when I'm a guest lecturer to a class of law students in Wyoming. It's being recorded. Okay, but what? Live and learn. Live and learn what? What do I learn from you being punched in the face by a cop when you were 16? If that's even what happened. I don't understand. BMAX says, what did you do to get punched in the face? I mean, I don't know. And he says, I did exactly what you'd expect. Well, how does he know what BMAX would expect? I don't know what BMAX would expect. I don't even know what I would expect. This is the problem when you aren't detail oriented and have attention to detail. You're just like, well, just, whatever you think happened, happened. Like, I don't know what the other person thinks. I'm not a mind reader. This is so weird. Why can't he just answer a question directly and to the point with details and an attention to detail, discipline, quantitative assessments instead of qualitative assessments? It's just disappointing. It's really disappointing as someone who is a science enthusiast. Anyway, he says, still doesn't make it okay. I mean, I guess I agree with that. I don't know. We must all follow the law. Yeah. I mean, if you get punched in the face by a cop, I suppose that's assault. Hopefully that cop was charged with assault if they were supposed to follow the law and it wasn't okay. I don't know. All of us, me, Judge Mata, Laura, Clayton, Woodnick, Gillespie, Mike, all of us, we must all follow the law. Yeah, I mean, that's real pie in the sky. Like, yeah, everybody has good intentions. Everybody's doing the best they can with the information they have. It's not as simple as just like, oh, well, the law is the law and you just have to follow it. People get into situations where there's a lot of gray areas. I was actually foreman on a jury, a criminal jury trial. And the law was basically very subjective. It was not quantitative, it was qualitative. The law was like, do you think this defendant, withheld necessary care from their child? How do you know what necessary care is? There's no rule book. And I even asked the judge this. I'm like, how do we know what necessary care is? And they were like, you have to use your common sense as a member of society, as a peer of the defendant. and the jury has to come to a decision. It was not like a binary, yeah, they robbed the bank, or no, they didn't rob the bank, or we don't know if they robbed the bank. It was subjective. Certain things occurred. Everybody agreed certain things occurred. And the disagreement was like, are those things bad enough to warrant a guilty verdict in court or not? It was very subjective. So, yeah, you can say pie in the sky, we must all follow the law. But life isn't like that all the time. Life isn't like, you have all the time in the world to do every single thing in your life perfectly. You can't. You can try. I don't know. The rule of law is bigger than any one of us. I mean, yeah, if you go rob a bank, they'll try to arrest you. Um, is that what you mean? Except when your dad is a fan of a TV show, then no rules. Hashtag sarcasm. What does that even mean? Is he saying the judge's dad is a fan of The Bachelor? We don't even know if the judge's dad is a fan of The Bachelor. We just know that the judge's dad maybe, as far as we know. I mean, I don't know if anybody confirmed this guy's identity, but the judge's dad attended a public court hearing, as is his right in America. I have no idea if he's a fan of the show or not. And even if he was, what does it mean, no rules? Do you have proof of that? Like, do you have proof that there was some judicial misconduct because the dad was a fan of the show and forced the judge to throw the case a certain way? That's a heavy claim. And heavy claims require heavy evidence. And I don't think we have any evidence of misconduct in this case. It's very strange. He's saying very strange things here, guys, in my opinion. BMAX says, I don't think it was right at all. I didn't ask what you did to deserve it. I was actually curious what caused this mess. That's all. Okay. It's a good question. Yeah. It was a very simple question. And David says, it's a very long story. Oh boy. We all have one. Well, I don't know. I don't have a very long story about getting punched in the face by a cop. So I don't know. We all have a very long story. I don't know if I do. Everybody does? Do you have a spreadsheet of everybody and all their long stories? How do you prove that claim? We all have one. I don't think that you can't claim that. How would you prove it? This is an unfalsifiable claim. And there are no excuses. I offered none. We do things, we accept consequences of our actions, and we grow. That's fair. Or we deflect and we stay small. I prefer growth. How do we measure growth? I mean, how do you know? Like, I always see these things, like there's these Facebook, my rule. So there's Bruce's law, okay? And it's for any platitudinal Facebook meme you can find someone posting, there's probably an equal and opposite one. So if you can find a Facebook meme that's like, we all learn and grow. There's an equal and opposite meme that's like, don't let anybody change who you are. So, like, I need to be myself and not let anybody change me, but then I need to grow and change at the same time. Like, these things are just platitudes. They're meaningless. They sound deep and they sound like they're really philosophically interesting, but they have no context. They have no detail. They have no attention to detail. They have no specifics. We don't know what happened to this guy. We don't know if a cop punched him in the face and there was consequences for this cop, or if there were consequences for David. We don't know anything about it. We don't and you say, oh, well, I grew from this experience. Well, what does that even mean? How do you measure it? What scientific test do I do to take a human being and determine if they grew from an experience? Give me a break. It's just a bunch of floofy language that doesn't really mean anything that we can measure. I don't know, guys. Chris Sims says, you said in numerous posts that you would answer genuine questions. And as someone that doesn't have any dog in this fight, that is standing back watching this shit show, as you call it, from the outside and on neither side, if you have proof of some of the things you were questioned, on, why do you not just show the proof to rub it into the people calling you or her a liar's face? Is it because you need it for a court hearing and don't want to show your cards? I honestly believe if you were just not showing stuff to get at the people on Twitter or whatever it is, doing your client a great disservice. If you have any proof that would sway people's opinions on what happened here, why would you not say, here it is, I told you so, screw you guys? That way she can move on from this and get some mental help. Because if she didn't have problems before all of this, she does now. And if you step back and view this from my eyes as someone that hasn't followed it all the way through from the start, it really looks like you are making things worse for her. And that is sad because these men and her need to move on with their lives, but you seem to not want that to happen for some reason. Uh, this is an interesting take from Chris here. There's no reply that I can see from uh, David here. So that's where we're at. Okay. Let's see how far we can go back. That was a lot from just a pony picture. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh, and even this was just, oh my gosh, this was all the comments on this post. We're already at 40 minutes, guys. This is going to be, let's see how far we can get. We're still on October 10th. And as I said before, today is October 21st. Nice fall day. We'll see when I release this on YouTube. With the election approaching, I want to propose a new law. If you make money from sitting on YouTube and reading my tweets pleadings and making money, you should be required to share profits with a local pet shelter. Why? Sir, if you publicly tweet and someone reads those tweets and adds commentary and their thoughts and looks at other comments and replies, and for people that don't have Twitter, I've talked to people who they want to watch YouTube videos, they want to listen to something while they're on their commute. They don't even have a Twitter account. They can't read your tweets. If YouTube pays those people, why can't they just do whatever they want with their money the same way anybody with a job would? If you go work at McDonald's, why can't you do whatever you want with your money? Should you be required to donate it to a pet shelter? This doesn't make any sense. How could anyone object to this sensible new law? Dog emoji, cat emoji. Um, I don't understand. Is he trying to be funny, guys? Is he trying to is this in the horse trainer thing with his, little kid pick? Is this like part of his stand-up routine? It's just not hitting for me. I don't know. Maybe I have a very different sense of humor than this guy. Who knows? IT Goatee Brad says that is a tax on free speech. And as you are a free speech attorney, I am ashamed that you would propose such a tax on the freedom of the press. Yeah, this is fair. I mean, if you're saying that, hey, depending upon what job you take, like if you earn money from YouTube versus earning money from, I don't know, working at Best Buy or something, you should have you should be forced by the government to donate some of your money. It's the government forcing you to donate your money. That effectively is a forced tax. So I agree with Brad. He says, I support free speech harder than anyone I or you know. And again, guys, this is a weird, unfalsifiable claim because how can you prove, what scientific test would I do to determine that David S. Gingras supports free speech harder than anyone he knows and harder than anyone Brad knows? David doesn't even know who all Brad knows. Maybe Brad knows somebody who supports free speech harder than him. And also, what does harder mean? It's qualitative, it's not quantitative. We have lost our ability to speak with precision, to be quantitative, to create tests, and to make falsifiable claims that can be proven. This entire sentence is completely unsupported. It's just rhetoric. It's meaningless rhetoric. He supports free speech harder than anyone Brad knows? He doesn't know everyone Brad knows. Does he have a spreadsheet of every single human being Brad knows? And he's gone through every one of them and said, how hard do you support free speech? And he's figured out some way of figuring out if he supports it harder than that person. He's gone through every person in the spreadsheet. That's what you would have to do to make this kind of claim and have it stick. And he hasn't done that. This is just disappointing. It's just disappointing to read this kind of rhetoric because it doesn't mean anything. It's not helpful. It doesn't help me learn anything. It doesn't help me decide if Brad's right or if he's right. It's just a disappointment. I expect better. I expect better, David. But sitting and reading my work and making money from it without adding value, that is a lower rung under the First Amendment. What does that mean? The First Amendment is a ladder and there's rungs? What does that even mean? It's such a weird analogy. Why are we talking about a ladder? What rung is it on? Also, generally, when people are reading tweets, publicly available tweets, they're adding their commentary and they're bringing a voice with some opinions and thoughts and additional information, news stories. You know, I told the story about how I was the foreman on the criminal jury trial. Maybe people want to hear that. How does he know it doesn't add value? Maybe in his opinion, commentary channels don't add value. Yeah, that's why there's the original source. If you don't want commentary, you go to the original source. If you want commentary, you listen to a commentary channel. This is why channels that cover law cases like Emily D. Baker, Grizzly True Crime, and others are successful because there are people that want commentary. Now, there's always people that don't want commentary, and for them, they can just go to, the court TV raw feed from some court filing, or they can go to a document and just read the raw document themselves. They can read Twitter for themselves. That's fine. It's not a one or the other kind of situation. Both of these things can happen at the same time. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. It's fine. Okay. So I disagree with his idea that there's no value because certainly some people find value in it. That's proof by refutation. And I don't know what he means by lower rung under the First Amendment. What are these rungs? Have you enumerated them? What do they mean? Ooh, I think it's delivery time. My dog is going to get very excited. But he'll be all right. He says, if I buy a novel and read the whole thing on YouTube for money, that's probably not legal. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? We're reading publicly available tweets that nobody has to buy. Right now, if we go get a court document from the court system, that's a publicly available court document that anybody can have and copy and read and distribute. It's not the same as a novel that has an ISBN number and it's been copyright protected. Okay, the other thing is when people are reading this, they're injecting their own opinions and their commentary and their stories. Okay, I'm not just reading only the flat text from this page like some sort of transcript machine. Okay, so his analogy is completely broken here. First of all, nobody's buying anything. I haven't bought anything that isn't publicly available. It's all publicly available stuff. And then nobody's just reading the thing raw. We're not transcript machines. Okay. So his whole thing here is a very weird analogy that doesn't make any sense. What is wrong with this guy? I just don't understand. Brad comes in and says playing works of long dead composers are public domain, but renditions of those works by symphonic bands are able to be copyrighted as derivative works. Yeah, so if you go get a orchestra and they do a specific recording, on October 21st, 2024 of some Mozart symphony, That recording can be copyright. The symphony itself, the sheet music, anybody can go do their own cover version of that without paying royalties. That's my understanding. The music industry. Fair use, as defined by 1071, the purpose and character of the use, while simultaneously mentioning that criticism. Comment news reporting are valid fair use exclusions to copyright infringement. Yeah, so Brad's just saying the same thing here. If you have the free content, whether it's from the court system or someone's Twitter page in a public tweet, you know, we're not paying for Patreon content and then like pirating it and putting it on YouTube. That would be, I don't know if that's illegal, but I wouldn't do that. That would be rude to whoever has that Patreon page. But this is not a Patreon page. This is a public Twitter page anybody can access. It's very strange. If someone were to only read partial statements, then an attorney such as yourself may argue that by not reading the entire document, critical aspects of the work are missed and taken out of context. 1074 mentions that the effect of use upon the potential market for or values of the copyrighted work. Public court documents do not have a potential market for or value other than lawyers getting paid doing the work pro bono to generate it. Yeah, that's true. When lawyers are creating these motions, they're getting paid by their client to write those motions and put them into the public court document, into the docket. And at that point, the public can see the process for themselves. Analyzing someone's tweets regarding a limited purpose public figure, you and your client, and providing our public comment would necessarily fall under the transformative aspect of 1074. Yeah, some people like commentary, some people don't like commentary. The greatest proof of that is that whenever there's a commentary channel on a big court case, like Emily D. Baker, Grizzly True Crime, they will get the occasional comment in the comments section of their live streams saying, "Why do you keep talking? Why can't you just play the video or play the court case and shut up?" So clearly, if people are annoyed by their commentary, that means that the people that are there to listen to the commentary are appreciating it. It's changing it. Because if it wasn't changing it, you wouldn't annoy the people who don't want the commentary, which is pretty hilarious. In any case, then Brad says it does not harm the future prospects of you or your client other than pointing out logical fallacies, overgeneralizations, and redirecting away when asked poignant questions about matters. Yeah, we're just trying to get to the bottom of the case here. I'm trying to wrap my head around it and figure it out. That's all we're doing. Thank you, Brad. And Rogue Mama says, plus adding extra ellipses for Megan. Oh, the ellipses. It is a public document. Yeah. This Twitter page is public. Anybody can go read it until he deletes it or hides it or privatifies it or whatever he wants to do. I don't know. It's all right here. I don't have any special permissions. I didn't pay for any of this. Okay, let's go back. Oh, what an interesting post. Let's see. Back on the original, we've got a few extra comments here. Rogue Mama says, Brad, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel dedicated to just reading David's tweets and maybe his blog. It will get called David Says. I mean, I guess you could do that without adding commentary. I don't know. Do that if you want. Jay Hip says, I'm fairly certain he is just being an ass. I doubt he is serious. Just making arm hairs stand up. It's what he does. Rogue Mama says, agreed. I need to block his ass. Oh, dear. Well, there's no need for name calling. Jay Hip says he blocked me, and it's nicer not reading his BS. I just see what's reported on. Easier than being tempted to respond to dummy. He's an idiot, and I don't need to personally engage. Rogue Mama says, maybe if I post this, he will block me. I guess this is a picture of him wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Well, it's not a hat, it's a sun visor because he's got the orange hair up here poking through. I don't know. It's a good look. Good look for a nice autumn golf game. Jay Hip says he won't, only if you speak badly of Jan Black. I can't believe he's an undercover Trumper, though. Jay Hip says, love you, though, Rogue Mama. Rogue Mama says, I know, which is what makes the memes funnier. Jay says, well, it sucks I can't be a JFC cult member since he's blocked me. Very sad. I wanted the Kool-Aid. Oh, boy. Rogue Mama says, I thought we were ISIS now. Trouble. J Hip says, dang, I'm in ISIS now? Well, 77 virgins, I guess. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, indeed. I don't know. We don't know, guys. What a wild post. What are we at? We're at 55 minutes. Maybe we can, hopefully we can spend, I don't know. We should probably call it here and then do a new part to go over the rest. Because guys, we're still on October 10th. We're still on October 10th. We're trying to get through it. And I see 17 replies to this next post. Have you ever tried arguing with people in a cult? We're going back to the cult thing. Okay, we're going to save this for the next video where I'm probably going to have to explain what the bite model is once again and how arbitrary members of the public following a high-profile public court case is not a cult. But we'll get into that in the next video, guys. Thanks so much. If you're here at the end, thank you for your time. This is Bruce from Oregon, Bruce the Moose with the Bruce from Oregon Show. This is Court of X. See ya.